Welcome to the Football Guys Dynasty Show. This is me, Jagger May, and with me, as always, is our Dynasty captain, Jeff Bell. And then we have Hutch and Sam Wagman back. And we have our trade episode, guys. We're going to get right back into it. We have a Jayden Daniels trade. Uh, this is from Apple Podcast. Thank you, Mick Buford. That almost sounds made up, and it could be correct. I'm sorry if it is real. McBuford, you bought Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin for Kirk Cousins, Jameson Williams, and Jalen Waddle. Jeff, is this too much for Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin?
No, this is a great trade. Grab Jayden Daniels for this. I mean, Kirk Cousins we know is temporary value, and then Jameson Williams exciting start. Jaden Waddle looks dead in the water with the Dolphins quarterback situation, and to get Jayden Daniels, I mean, this is the type of thing every year we see these players that are in the second to third round of superflex startups that are top 5 picks the next year, and Jayden Daniels feels like that guy this year.
Yep. What about you,
Couldn't
Sam?
agree
You
more.
pro Jay Daniels on this trade? Jayden
Yeah, I,
Daniels?
I
Yeah.
think I think we have to, just start trying to acquire guys that we can project as, possible top tier quarterbacks as early as we possibly can in their career. And this is a great time to buy Jayden Daniels, right, before he, starts getting command of this offense. And I think this is terrific compensation. Like Jeff said, Kirk Cousins' days in Atlanta, are almost certainly numbered. Um, whether that's by Michael Penix, kind of just coming in at some point in 2025 and earning the job, or, Cousins starts to kind of move back down the stretch. And I'm also with it that Jameson Williams is great, but he's always going to have his ceiling kind of capped by the fact he can't be the number one target in his offense. And there's a lot of people in that Detroit offense as well. So I really like this. I'm still a big Terry McLaurin guy. I think I always will be, just perennially underrated to me. And I love Jayden Daniels. So this is a slam dunk for me.
Nice.
I
Nice.
would agree. I mean, when you look at the trade, it's when I look at dynasty trades, I always try to look for first who gets the best asset of the trade, because that usually is the side that you want to be on, getting that blue chip asset, and that is Jayden Daniels in this trade, and that's where I'm going to lean here.
Nice. Before we move on, remember to like and subscribe. And if you guys want to be on the trade show, just pop those in the comments on any show. Always go to footballguys.com/plans. I'm having a rookie big board over there. I write an info sheet every week for you guys for your start sits. Jeff has a dynasty roundup over there. Of course, if you join, you can have prop talk with Sam Wagman, and Hutch is over there as well for our GOAT tier members, answering any of your dynasty questions as well. I'm about to
Yes,
release a
sir.
full big board, including offensive linemen and defensive players for any sickos, but that also helps us understand the draft capital, maybe, if I get it right, of some of these prospects that we're going to get. Moving on, we got a Baker Mayfield trade. Someone got Baker Mayfield. Chase Beal Sharp 383. I picked the name Jag Says a long time ago, and it's a lot easier than some of these things you guys pick up. Baker Mayfield for Derrick Henry in a mid-second. They already have Allen and Mahomes. Sam, where are you on which side of this trade?
So he already has Allen and Mahomes, and he got Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Um,
No, he traded Baker
okay.
Mayfield for Derrick Henry in a second.
Okay. I kind of like this. It depends on what his running backs look like. I'm assuming that if he was willing to trade away Baker Mayfield, who, is kind of having a very, very solid year, start of year, and obviously we saw him look really good, borderline top 12 last year, that I think his running backs are probably bad enough that he was willing to make this move. If you're okay with something like this, I think it's totally understandable. I think this is the best possible offense that Derrick Henry can be in. We obviously saw kind of what he can do this past week against the Cowboys. 130 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. When he just gets going, it's night and day. He gets better as the season goes along. His yards per carry per month rises as the season goes along. And I think that Derrick Henry is kind of the perfect contender trade right now because he's inexpensive enough that people, will sell him for, mid to late seconds. You might even get a possibility where someone will give him to you. Probably not after this week for a couple thirds. Probably could have gotten before this week for, you know, a lot less than now. But I do love Henry if you're competing and you need a running back. And given the fact that he has two of the best dynasty quarterbacks in the sport, it's kind of, you know, very good opportunity cost to purchase Henry now.
Hutch, what about you?
Yeah, I would agree with Sam says. I would want to ask how many teams are in this league, though, because when you look at, a 12, 14, 16 man league, quarterbacks become a lot more valuable because there's a lot less of them and they're a lot more scattered among the league members. But if it's like a 8, 10 man league, you're looking at a lot less value towards quarterbacks in a super flex league because there's just more of them out there because there's less teams in the league. But if this was like a 14 teamer, I might have a hard time with this one because Baker is literally on fire right now. But I like what Sam said, given, you already have Allen Mahomes, and you probably, with those two quarterbacks, you're probably competing this year. You might have some running back injuries. So trading for Henry and a mid-second for Baker Mayfield, that's not a bad move because, Baker is, he has started on fire. There is a very real world where he could regress back to the mean just go down a little bit from where he's been. It's a very real world where that happens. So I'd be fine with this trade in like a 10, 12 man league. But if you get 14, 16, then I'm a little like Baker's a lot of value in those leagues.
What about you, Jeff?
I hate it. I don't like it at all. I would not trade Baker Mayfield right now. He's a top 12 quarterback. And I think, I don't know, I wouldn't say comfortably, but he's certainly in that area. And so I would rather, especially in Superflex, I'd be pivoting and looking for a younger wide receiver to move that off there or a first round pick. I just don't like diluting assets there. And I think that, we're coming off of a high week from Derrick Henry, but I think we've already seen through 2 weeks. It's very, very touchdown dependent play. And he's kind of I view him more as a high end running back 2 than the classic running back 1 that you got out of Derrick Henry. And then a mid second. I just think this is you sold a player at his potential high point for a player that you're basically buying high on that the value can only go out of, and then a mid second that is a complete throw of the dice.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think I'm somewhere in the middle here, where if you really needed to make this trade, and I think it was Hutch that made the point that, like, obviously if you have like Mahomes and Allen, you might have been pretty desperate to trade for Derrick Henry at this point. The second does a lot to insulate your value here because you have a liquid asset along with the depreciating asset. But it's like Jeff said, like the key phrase is like it's a diluted asset from Mayfield. But like this is a strong class coming in. But on the flip side, let's just say you want to buy another running back or another wide receiver. If you're looking for another running back or something with that mid second, we're at a hit rate where we're getting 2 good running backs a year than some other ones that are handcuffs. And then wide receiver, it just like depends if they're going to a good spot that'll use them. So it's like I think I lean a little bit more towards Jeff's end, where you have some stability and you're moving off from like what ifs and maybes and right nows. But it's I've seen worse, so it's not like the worst trade I've seen or anything like that. Like,
what if you called that second like Ricky Pearsall or Xavier Leggett or Jalen Wright?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm at.
Yeah, it becomes a little bit more complicated in that, but we're still dealing in the realm of what ifs and
I know we hit with every single future draft pick that we acquire, so I get
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, we have a Tank Dell trade. It's someone who I've said that you should buy because like the hits are going to come. I know people are like, he sucks, and the Stephon Diggs is a 1-year mercenary. Tank Dell's on a rookie contract. He's going to be there for 3 more years. We don't know how long Stephon Diggs is going to be there, even beyond this year. That's redraft mentality. Like, we don't bring that energy here. The first trade, this is Will Galvez, 97.76. Good for you, buddy. You're a bandit. He bought Tank Dell for Naylor in a 25 second.
That's a steal. Robbery.
That's very, very, very good trade.
For the folks that I know are going to be in the comments, like, that's an obvious win. Some people, this is their first time playing Dynasty. For some people, they may not be in 30 leagues and listen to me and Jeff every week. this is what you do with these Jalen Nailors and players like that. You go and take them, you go package them with like we talked about them, ifs and buts or maybes, like picks, and you go get something that is stable like Tank Dell. Kudos to you. I don't think does anyone have anything negative to say about
No,
this
it's
trade?
beautiful, beautiful
If
timing,
Stephon
beautiful
Diggs,
trade.
yeah,
Great.
there's a potential like down the road negative if Stephon Diggs just turns out to be an extremely stable asset that Houston decides to keep around for another year or two after this, despite the fact that his efficiency metrics have been pretty much declining across the board, but he has been a very stable force across that middle of the field for the Houston Texans at this point and the short and the intermediate. If that continues to happen, we see another year plus of Tank Dell being the asset that he is now, which is dependent on big play and possibly an injury to happen. That is the only negative that I could foresee.
I think the hits are going to come though, man. He was
I do
he
as
was
well.
borderline elite wide receiver as a rookie. He was on pace for 1,000 yards. He made plays all over the field, and CJ Stroud clearly
He also
loves
got
this trade.
shot.
I
He also
think
got
it's
shot
great.
3 months ago. Like he
He
could be
did,
recovering from
yeah.
that. Brian Robinson, many men here. So
Yeah.
if Tank Dell starts coming out to many men in the next couple weeks, I would rush to buy him from your league
Yeah.
mates.
Keep an eye on
And
that.
he's
Keep an eye on that.
getting the targets, So
Yeah,
in like
he is getting the
Yeah, they're there.
targets.
And we have one more Tank Dell trade. This time someone bought Garrett Wilson for Tank Dell in the 25 first. Jeff, where are you at on this trade?
I like that one too. I like the Garrett Wilson side of that one. I think that I think Garrett Wilson, we're in a little bit of a buy window right now with Garrett Wilson, where you're seeing the underlying usage that you would like to see on Garrett Wilson. It's just the big week hasn't quite happened yet, but I think it would be there. And use this window when Alan Lazard is outscoring Garrett Wilson to go buy Garrett Wilson, because Alan Lazard is not going to outscore Garrett Wilson for 17 games.
I mean, there's some people out there that say Garrett Wilson is not good because of box scores, Jeff. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's
Hutch,
it's
where
weird,
Body
man.
control on the sideline. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm in,
Oh yeah.
I'm in complete agreement with this trade here with Jeff and seems to be you too, Jagger. Garrett Wilson is the one you want here. Given the fact that Aaron Rodgers, he was very rusty the first couple games. We saw that rust starting to fall off in this third game. I mentioned earlier the mobility was back. He looked better. He had his best game of the season so far by far. And that's only going to get better and better as the season goes on. As a result, Garrett Wilson should only get better and better for fantasy as the season goes on. So yeah, Wilson is the guy you want here. As much as I love Tank Dell and 25 first can be something intriguing, Garrett Wilson is the player you probably want here.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson's good at football, guys. Sometimes and a lot of things what people are saying, like, well, Justin Jefferson's like, well, I'm not Garrett Wilson. I think that's true to an extent, but it's also like Nathaniel Hackett isn't Kevin O'Connell, so we could say that as well. We could just start making these comps out there. And then I think in fantasy, we make the mistake of not understanding that sometimes defenses play good football too. Christian Gonzalez do you think DK Metcalf sucks? Do you, because Christian Gonzalez shut him down pretty well too. Like the same thing with Patrick Surtain. Like stuff happens. Sam, are you pro Garrett Wilson with all that? Are you a hater?
Yeah.
Are you?
No. I like players that are good at football.
Okay.
I like players.
Good. I was
going to
eat you off the show. Yeah,
I like players that get targeted heavily. So I'm not going to go against the crowd here. So
good. That's how you get kicked off the Dynasty show. Is Garrett Wilson hates. Next,
we all remember the great summer debacle of Jagger May's Dynasty rankings.
Oh yeah, that's
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the worst rankle of all time.
Worst.
And by the way, clavichord, that is a clever name. I don't know why you chose the clavicle, and you seem to be a musical person, but at least it's a fun pun. So next we're going to talk about Mark Andrews.
It's a gross trade.
Clavichord.
This is another clavichord trade, or maybe I copy and pasted wrong. Either way, Christian Watson and a 5th rounder. 5th rounders aren't real, guys. They're not real.
Yeah, they don't exist.
I don't put this. I only put this on here so it's something, and you put it on here because you said Christian Watson
either. So
that Thank you. That was my point.
Yeah.
Was just like you traded Dogecoin for like another Dogecoin.
For Ripple. You traded Dogecoin for Ripple.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations.
So
Congratulations.
Oh yeah.
really, this trade is Christian Watson for Mark Andrews. And considering what you bought Mark Andrews for, or excuse me, what you paid for Christian Watson, and if you need a tight end, I could see the move. I'm a little scared because I don't know. This makes sense. It's not a bad trade, but it's worth talking about. Sam, where are you?
I'm was desperately hoping that you did not start with me here. I have no idea. I have no idea what to make of this trade. On one hand,
It's
I would like to think that Mark Andrews somehow comes back to life, but if you listen to our tight end show earlier in the week, I'm not sure he's going to at this point. I am kind of sure that Christian Watson is is a somewhat key member of the Green Bay offense. You know, albeit behind Jayden Reed, well behind Jayden Reed as that stands in the pecking order. But and then Kendra Miller is another fugazi. You know, don't know if he exists. Dennis Allen certainly would like to eat him off the planet. It certainly seems like.
makes me so sad.
I think I would like the Christian Watson side here, but I'm desperately scared that someone will. I don't know. I'll go with the Christian Watson side, but I don't like either of these sides. They both terrify me deeply.
What about you, Jeff? Where are you at?
I'd take Mark Andrews probably. If it's tight in premium, I'll still bet on Andrews.
Yeah, that's a big
winning out
mover there.
over time. I think Jayden Reed is a star, and I think Jayden Reed is going, once we get Jordan Love back in that lineup, I think you're going to see an offense built around Jayden Reed in the passing game. And I mean, we saw Christian Watson the end zone usage, but I'm skeptical the volume is really going to be there on Watson. You're kind of relying a little bit more on big plays, whereas I still believe that Andrews will have volume games. I'm not completely off there. I think he got in a car accident, and he's coming off a major injury. It's like I think I'm gonna give a little bit of pass to Mark Andrews' slow start.
Dontavian Wicks is apparently eating into Christian Watson's role again. I don't know how real it is. I don't know how real it is. Hutch, are you on the Andrews side or the Watson side?
I would be on the Andrews side here. You know, I think Dontavian Wicks is totally eating into Christian Watson's workload a little bit. It's definitely there, and Andrews, you know. I think who do I want to give a chance to, Christian Watson or Mark Andrews? I would give it to Andrews. I would give it to Andrews there. And then also, I know we're seeing him as nothing, and it's very likely that he's nothing, but Kendra Miller was a very good college running back, and I think he has talent. I really, really do think he has talent. But
I think the bigger problem is Dennis Allen doesn't think he has talent.
Dennis Allen hates him. What's that?
We'll turn you to the dark side soon enough.
Yeah.
I was about to say Kendra Miller was a college running back.
Yeah, Kendra Miller's got a soft spot in my heart since he came out.
He had a soft spot in my heart too. I loved him too, but you know,
I'd rather have him than a fifth rounder. I'll just say that. I'd rather
fifth rounders aren't real. It doesn't exist. It just it's not there.
Yeah, I'm a TCU hater. Like, let's put it this way: if I had a fifth rounder,
Jagger's really down bad with Quentin Johnson breaking out over the last 2 weeks.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just like that's we have not on this episode. Yeah, exactly. But my point on fifth rounders is that fifth rounders would have been like 10 Dylan Laubes for me. Yeah. Where am I at with Dylan Laube? You know, so that's not real. Pour that out. Pour that out. That was fun best ball time. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, a trade here. Jalen Rose, 2037. Wouldn't that be cool if this was the actual Jalen Rose? It's spelled different, but
it's spelled very different. Jalen Rose invented the name Jalen, according to him. His mom did. So you hear that story?
A lot of people were named Jalen. Even white kids are named Jalen now. It's out there.
The Michigan, the Fab Five was a vibe. Like that was a moment.
Yeah. Jaxon Smith-Njigba for Higgins in a 26-second. Before this game, I might have said that I might buy Higgins. I told a lot of people to start Higgins because it's the Commanders. What did Higgins finish with? Who read that stat line?
3 for 39. Okay.
Well, those are
Ugh.
passes. That's
Yes.
not good. So
No.
that being said, Jeff, where are you
Um,
at with this trade? It's got to be JSN, right?
Yeah, I think probably JSN. I don't know if a second is quite the difference between these two players. That's probably my only hang up, but I would rather have JSN definitely over T. Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
would as
20
well.
It's a 26
Sorry.
second, but like still,
Yeah, it is.
The world
far.
is going to end before
Second.
2026, so I get it.
yeah.
That's what I'm
What-
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I
I think Jason's the pick here. I mean, when you see a second-year wide receiver who was a first-round pick of a 16 target, 12 reception game and dominates, even after a cold week the next week, I think you got to stick with this player and assume he's talented. I loved him coming out and loved seeing what he did in that week too. I would keep him here, especially after seeing what Higgins did in this game. It makes it a lot more concerning for me.
Yeah,
I do think going forward, I think going forward, the offense that we're seeing in Seattle versus the offense that we may not see much longer in Cincinnati, if Jagger's prediction of Zach Taylor getting canned after they managed to let the Commanders hang 38 on them, if that doesn't do it, I don't know what will, honestly. But yeah, I think I would rather go JSN here too. It's very close. I'm with Jeff that it's not exactly a second between these two players, but I am starting to get concerned about Higgins. It's kind of just what if that's the ceiling was that wide receiver too, is being a wide receiver too. I think JSN can do more. So I would rather have JSN here.
I think Higgins is going to make another team really happy during the offseason. Like,
I think another team's
He's a
going to
Carolina
pay him
Panther,
really
though.
well.
yeah,
Carolina
let's see.
Panthers written all
My
over him.
worry is that he turns into a Kenny Galladay sort of story where, he looks really good in one role and then he goes to
Might.
another team, gets paid, and then is completely not the player you thought because he can't handle that kind of workload and those kind of expectations. So, it's not
Hope
a
that
one-to-one
doesn't happen
comparison.
to the Patriots because we need a wide receiver.
Yes.
That could
Dude.
fall for
Yeah,
that
they
trap.
would be the chief
there,
culprits.
yeah.
They would be the chief culprits. I can just imagine him in an Alex Van Pelt offense just floundering. So
Yeah.
If that happens,
We'll
I'm
see.
bringing you both on the show, back on the show, so you can watch me lose it on air.
Dude.
So
Yeah, that would
we'll
be-
see what happens there. It's JSM for me.
The last trade is one that I made in our listener league. I got sent this trade from Los Beasters. He bought Zay Flowers and Trey Benson for me for Drake May and Khalil Shakir. Boy, do I feel good after today. I get to brag now. Ha 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 ha. I have a quarterback that I have to wait on instead of a running back that may or may not be Tank Bigsby.
You
So,
you shared this in our chat, and I was like, "What are you? Why have you not hit accept yet? Why are you sharing? Like, why are you asking for a second opinion on this, Jag? Do you really need a second opinion on this? Like, yes,
because
do
I
that.
love Zay Flowers, Jeff. You know why? I had to give up my son for a realistic
Khalil
reason.
Shakir has scored more points than Zay Flowers through 3 weeks, and
Now I
pretty
know
much
that
the same age, but
they're basically the same player. If you really think about it,
They really
Like,
are. They
they
really are
really
kind
are
of
the same player.
Zay's a little bit quicker, but yeah, Shakir's nice. I think this is a slam dunk.
Shakir
If
is
you
really
think
impressed.
Drake May is, if you think Drake May is not going to die behind this offensive line, I'd make this trade in a heartbeat.
Oh, he will die behind this offensive line. I'm talking about next year.
He would have buried in the field.
I know a lot of people are like, Drake May needs to be in this offense. I'm like, shut up. Like protect him. Like, no.
Yeah, no.
people that were shocked
Like
that
my
Bryce
sweet-
Young
my
got
sweet
benched
child.
after 2 games and said
My
that you didn't
sweet
see enough
child.
of Bryce Young to after 2 games.
They're like, I know he's better. I'm like, no, we don't. We always say that. You remember when Chicago was like, they should have took Bryce. Should they have? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
we don't know anything. So, but what I do know is a quarterback might be better than Trey Benson. I am eating Regretti spaghetti because I have a lot of dynasty teams dependent on Trey Benson. Hutch, before we go, what you think he'll be okay? Or
Next year.
Trey Benson,
Next year.
I think he'll be. I think he'll be
okay.
good next year. Yeah.
he looks good on tape. Like he
It's
looks
just
good.
going to
He's
be
not
one of
like
those things he
Looks quick
lost,
and
like
short.
running back 45 on keep trade cut because he didn't do it his first year, and then all of a sudden James Conner moves on, and you're like, oh wait, he was free and he's a
He
starting running back
exists.
now.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah, he's not AJ Dillon because he's good, and he's not Tank Bigsby because he's good. Like I think Tank Bigsby's good,
Yeah,
but like for some reason it's just like
Slander.
not happening right now. I'm a
Yeah.
I'm
That's
a big
crazy.
Tank Bigsby believer, and I'm just reeling, guys. But that'll end it for this trade show, guys. As always, don't be afraid to ask us anything you want in the world. We even decide between Alfredo and Dave every Sunday on Sunday Morning Live. You could see all four of us on that at some point this season. Joey does that schedule, not me. I just show up. And as always, like, subscribe, go over to footballguys.com/plan. Subscribe there so you can read all of our stuff and not just hear our lovely voices. I'm Jagger. That's Jeff. Hutch below me or wherever Julia puts him in the edit. And Sam Wagman. We'll see you guys on the next one.